All right, Frank Vella, CEO of Constant Contact. It's great to have you on the program today.
Thanks, Joe. It's an honor to be here. I'm a fan of your podcast.
Well, thank you so much. So, there are two concepts or two ideas that I'd love to sort of unpack with you today. One is your thoughts on AI with small businesses. And then the second piece, which is sort of connected to it, is sort of the rise or the spike in new businesses and the rise of entrepreneurial spirit and marketing in this space. Because, and I think in part through AI, but there's some other things that are going on with that. All right, so before we jump into that aspect, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your background and what led you to the role of CEO at Constant Contact.
Well, my background has primarily been in technology, although I did graduate and spend the first couple of years post-college as an accountant. My heart was in technology, and through various roles, senior leadership roles at Microsoft, where I worked in Canada, and here in the United States, through to Quest Software, an enterprise platform for tools, management tools for the enterprise, to Blue Jeans, a video platform, and so my career has taken me through various elements of technology. One of the most proud, it was a DC-based startup called VirtuStream, which was revolutionizing cloud before cloud was a concept. And I'm here at Constant Contact because when the opportunity came up, my memories as a Constant Contact customer compelled me to want to know more about this opportunity. I was thrilled as a customer. Many in my family own small businesses, and being the tech guy in the family, I was the one helping them set up their computers and find the right software. And that's how I ended up here at Constant Contact just over 2 years ago.
I know that well. I do the same sort of things. My family constantly asks me for help with certain types of things in the technology world. So I appreciate that very much. For the uninitiated, can you give a little bit of background behind Constant Contact?
Yes, Constant Contact has been around for just around 2 decades, and we have been serving the small business for our entire tenure. We are singularly and maniacally focused on making the small business successful. And if I go all the way back to our founder's vision, which holds true today, it's about being the platform that helped the small business market effectively and compete against their larger rivals. And that's what we are, a marketing platform that allows the small business to go do what they do well and fulfill the needs of marketing as the marketing needs to compete have evolved over time.
Fantastic. Okay, that's a great level setting on that. Now, to sort of jump into the AI component with small businesses, I've been writing about AI for too long. I've been talking about it among my peers and doing speeches on this for ages. There wasn't really that much movement on it over the last 10 years in the sense that people were like, yeah, this is something. In the beginning, the people were like, oh yeah, this is going to take over the world. Then there's just been this trough of, it's not going to do anything until, of course, last November with OpenAI coming out with ChatGPT. So I would love to get your perspective on how small businesses, one, are thinking about this, maybe how they're using it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and to confirm, Joe, what you're saying, we saw the same thing. About 2 years ago, we polled our customers and asked a similar question. How do you envision tools like machine learning or artificial intelligence impacting your ability to do your job? And it was a resounding, that won't have an impact. I think only 20% or so said it might play into my future. 2 years ago, same survey, this year, 75% of our respondents are saying,
Amazing.
yes, this is going to play. The small business, what I love about being in the small business is the small business keeps you honest. Fundamentally, they're not thinking about AI in technology terms. They're thinking about artificial intelligence or machine learning in the aspect of, how do I get an outcome? How do I get a better outcome? How do I get better service to my customers? Small business owners are dependent on their customers, and as we all are, but for them, customers are family, their friends, their community. And so the small business is using AI to do things like understand their customer base better, leveraging data that they couldn't leverage without tools that service providers like us give them. So they leverage data to understand their customers, to personify or personalize the outputs. Joe gets a different email than Frank. To time and deliver messages at the right time and at the right place, and to make the right recommendations. And so they're using artificial intelligence to be skillful in an area where they don't have a ton of skills. And in our case, that's marketing.
No, great thought on that. So I guess along those lines, do you see the leveraging of some of these large language models, LLMs, in the sense that people are now able to tap into the writing or the crafting of some of the emails that may go out to even further hone or tailor those types of emails?
Yeah, that we've seen the biggest impact and the most uptake right there. So if you're a small business owner, you spend your time running your business. Then when the kids go to bed or it's not work time, you think about being a marketer. And the first big stumbling block, whether you're going to do a social post or an SMS campaign or an email, is what we call the blank sheet, the white screen and the flashing cursor. Where do I start? And so what we've seen uptake on is, well, give us a few words. What do you want to do? Oh, I'm a florist who wants to do a sale on roses this Saturday because for whatever reason, Valentine's Day is coming up. I have too much inventory. And just tell us that. And we will leverage an AI engine and large language models to create a campaign. And we'll post that to you and say, well, we'll let you pick. What tone do you want? Do you want a light tone, a serious tone, a funny tone, a tone targeted towards an audience like a millennial audience? And so you'll get to change the effect of what has been produced by AI to suit you the best. And so we uncover the challenge of this white blank sheet and a flashing cursor to get you started. And most times people love what's produced, and sometimes they'll tailor it a little bit to make it more their own. But that's the biggest uptake of AI, where a customer knows they're using AI. I'll put it that way, because there are so many things that make the experience better that they don't even know is being fueled by AI technology in the background.
Yeah, so many things, you're right, going on in the background that people are just assuming like, ah, this is just working. And that's all ultimately you want to see happen, is that something just works for people to make their jobs easier, no question. So if I were to ask you to put on your sort of futurist hat, I know it's very difficult for any one of us to do it. I certainly want to hold you accountable for this, but per se, if you were to sort of speculate where this may go, looking 2 to 3 years out, if you want to go 5 years out, how much of an impact does AI have in the business, in this particular business itself?
I'm going to draw an analogy. Going back a decade or more, if you wanted to start a small business, there were hurdles that you had to overcome. You had to buy computers, you had to buy infrastructure, you had to buy some technology to get started. And then the cloud came along, and you could overcome all of that and fractionalize your purchase of that through cloud. Marketing is going the same way. In our world, what machine learning and artificial intelligence are going to do is make the small business a great marketer. We will bring the intuitive aspects of, because you're in this business, because your base of customers reacts this way as compared to other norms, because you've done this and this in the past and they were successful, and because there are these things out here that you don't even know exist that you can fold in, it'll all be suggested and presented to you, so you don't have to think about marketing. And leading till now, it really has been, I have to decide that I want to market, and most people do. Then I have to know something about, what do I want to do next? A social post, an email, and an AI in the background will become an intuitive partner to suggest the right actions at the right times based on data and results from your specific customer base. And that's what we envision as the role of technology, AI, and the right tool, letting the small business owner go back and do what they do best, which is technically not marketing.
So a bit of augmented intelligence, maybe?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so last general thought or question on the AI front directly, and this is something that I've been very curious about, and I've gotten a lot of questions from my nephews and nieces on this, and that is, what are you telling children, kids that are starting to think about their futures with all this technology coming to a head? The SaaS models, they're now having to learn a lot more about large language models. Um, what are you telling them about how to target for their education going forward?
Uh, Resistance is futile. And what do I mean by that? Um, Technological advancements at any stage in our past have been there to make the human better. And how a human leverages what's around them to make themselves better is fundamentally good. It drives growth of the individual, growth of the economy, growth of jobs. AI poses something different. In addition to that, all of that is true. And there's the ethical aspect. And the ethical use of AI is something that is being debated quite heavily in Washington right now. And there is an ethical responsibility to eliminate bias, to eliminate intent, and to some extent to eliminate or watch intuition. Intuition is a human trait, and this is just a personal perspective. I fear intuition coming from something else other than a human, and as most use cases are good and most people are good, leveraging what you have available to you to make you a better learner. I have 3 children. They learn differently. One is more visual, one is more technical, one is more traditional. Read a book and memorize and learn. And when we can cater to the learner in their style, then we make the human better. And that's what I tell my kids. I know that's how you pose the question, so I'll bring it right back there. That's what I tell my 3 children about the use of this technology.
Very wise. No, I appreciate your perspective on that. That's fantastic. All right, let's sort of transition into the rise of new businesses, that spike in the entrepreneurial spirit. Um, do you feel like this is left over from the pandemic? What has changed? What has motivated people to start their own businesses, do you see?
Ease of entry. First of all, if I come back to traditional, you had to make a decision. You had to maybe lease a storefront. You had to maybe buy technology. Ease of entry is people can start a side hustle quite easily with low cost and low effort. And so you can dabble and experiment. And often people's side hustles are in the world of something they love to do. And that makes it more appealing, and it starts to take off. And I think that dynamic plays into small business and small business inception. We have,
Please go
so
ahead.
I'm going to add one more.
Yeah,
And
please.
then the macro environment of the economy. And historically, census data shows that when there is uncertainty in an economic cycle, that new business inceptions go up pretty dramatically. And in the first 4 months of the pandemic, the Census Bureau said there was a 122% spike
Wow.
in the creation of new businesses. And then couple that with the polling we do with our customers. We we view ourselves as having a responsibility to be a knowledge base of what's going on in the small business. And when we poll people now, a high percentage of them say that should their personal situation take a tide for the worse, whether they lose a job or lose some income or something affects them, that they are willing and ready to go start a small business on their own. And so you see that the passion for working for one's self is a human trait that spans the test of time and gets accelerated during difficult times.
Very interesting to hear about. So when you have these conversations with organizations, these small businesses, and these entrepreneurs, what are their biggest challenges? What do they express as their biggest concerns in this space?
We we market, we publicize them internally, so we make sure we understand our customers. Their top needs are, one, marketing and advertising. Believe it or not, people know that if I have a great idea, I have to get it to market. Somebody other than me needs to know that this is a great idea. Second is access to capital. And our studies show that over time, that is also diminishing. People understand that they could get in for relatively low money, that under $5,000 can get them started. But if they're going to grow, capital is the second. Writing their business plan, developing a network, and hiring staff. These are the things that they are concerned about the most. So it's basically marketing your business, get it up and running, and hire the people to succeed.
Okay, that's very helpful, very straightforward, and I appreciate that. So maybe one of the last questions that I have that I'd love to hear your opinions on as a technologist with a background there. Um, are you an Apple or an Android person?
Apple.
Okay, okay. So I've been grappling with this for ages. I'm an Android person. I appreciate Apple and what they've built. I think they've worked tremendously innovative. But when you look at platforms across the board, the bigger picture, a platform, and I know you know this, but just in case other people aren't as familiar, a platform kind of like Constant Contact is a place where people can go to. They can have services. It's cloud-based, so SaaS-based, right? The interconnectivity of these things, where you can plug in various APIs or other data sources into something that creates this whole network effect, such that you can start leveraging all sorts of information in different places, apply AI on top of that to the data repositories. Very cool, right? Um, some platforms have more walls up, right? And you have to sort of play with those within those rules. Others are more open-ended. I'm not saying one is another or whatever, but in a philosophical sense, is Constant Contact, do they allow for more integrations? Can people build out integrations? Does it have that ability to do that sort of thing, bring APIs or plug in different connections to it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we live in a world where we understand that in order to enable our customers' success, the way we say it is we have to meet them where they are. We have to connect to the things they connect to, whether it's a CRM platform, whether it's a social media platform. And so we have to enable their ability to market, not define in a narrow way how they market. And so in that respect, if I take your Android Apple analogy a little bit further, I'll use our platform where it is, where it's been and where it's going. And I've described it like this. We have a very robust platform. We are a platform built by engineers. We are tremendous on scalability, reliability, deliverability, all the things a customer doesn't get to see. But if you're doing a marketing campaign that doesn't get delivered to its intended audience, then you don't have a marketing campaign. And with the other features, like I'll draw the Android analogy, I've described it this way. If you knew what you wanted to do next and you knew how to find it from within the platform, it was all there for you. And then we do usability studies or discoverability studies, and most small business people who don't have innate marketing skills never thought about using the platform for that and therefore never accessed it. So my job is to present, and this is where AI comes back full circle, to say, Joe, at this point in your marketing journey, this might be a next step that's relevant. And in that, I might need to connect to your CRM platform or to your point of sale system or to your social media to do it better for you or with you. But I need to bring the intersection of exposing what you don't know about and what you do know about, and bring them together. And that's whether it's our partnerships, meeting you where we are, our partnerships with website providers and small business loan and banking providers. We are partnered with an ecosystem that includes all of that to ensure we are right there partnering with our small business customers where they are. We come back full circle so that they can do well what they do best, which is run their small business.
I love that answer. No, thank you so much for that. So excellent. Any last parting thoughts or ideas that you wanted to discuss?
Typically as a parting question, I get asked, well, what's the advice for the small business? And I think you've been hearing that all the way through. Small businesses are resilient. They stand the test of time. Small businesses are part of a community. I forget the stat, but it's something like 90% of Americans interact with a small business every week. And so they're resilient. They're part of a community. They're optimistic. We see this with the new business inceptions. And they stand the test of time because a small business owner has to run lean, just like it's a tough time all the time. And so advice I give small business people or potential small business owners is do something you love. You're going to spend a lot of time at it. You're going to have to market it. Connect with your audience, ensure you're part of the community, and you do what you do best by leveraging tools and automations that are out there. And the new wave of small businesses are very technically savvy, but ensure you're using all the tools out there, whether it's Constant Contact for marketing or other tools for cloud platforms and point of sale. Leverage what's out there so that you can do what you do best.
Sage advice, my goodness. Frank, thank you so much for your time today. This has been great.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Joe. All the best.
Thank you.